Good morning and welcome to our joint meeting. It is the last day of July in 2025. We are delighted that you've joined us. Please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll start off with introductions. Shall we start with the City of Stuart and we'll roll around the room?
Lee Baggett, City Attorney.
Christopher Collins, Vice Mayor.
Michael Mortel, City Manager.
Wade Vos, Village Attorney.
Carmine DiPaolo, Village of Indian Town Mayor.
Angelina Perez, Vice Mayor.
Phyllis Waters Brown, Council, Village of Indiantown.
Karen Krista, Indiantown Village Manager.
Don Donaldson, Martin County, County Administrator.
Eileen Vargas, District 1, County Commissioner.
Blake Capps, Martin County Commissioner, District 3.
And I'm Sarah Hurd, Martin County Commissioner.
Ed Campy, Martin County Commissioner.
Stacy Hetherington, Martin County Commission, District 2.
Elise Elder, Acting County Attorney.
Michael Main, Superintendent of Schools.
Marcia Powers, Martin County School Board.
Amy Pritchett, District 4, Martin County School Board.
Lee Roberts, School Board.
Tony George, School Board Attorney.
Welcome all. Would anyone from the public like to address us this morning? I don't have any requests to speak forms, so we will proceed with our agenda. The first agenda item is 4A, County Public Works Projects. Mr. Baker and Mr. Mail.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Keith Baker, the Capital Project Administrator. I'm going to start by giving an update on our neighborhood restoration projects. We usually do these projects in 3 phases. We'll do the drainage improvements and then the utility improvements if we are going to do them in the neighborhood. And then we'll come back and pave the streets. So right now in Port Salerno Peninsula, this is a joint project with Martin County Utilities. We're installing sewer in the neighborhood. The construction is approximately 30% complete. Rocky Point, it says out to bid in the fall. I expect this to be in September, out to bid. City of Stuart Riverside Park, this is a FDOT grant-funded project with the City of Stuart. Construction is approximately 70% complete. Old Palm City North has a resiliency component to it, where in flood-prone areas we'll be elevating the roadways and improving the drainage. The design's at 90%. SPS Manatee Business Park, we're finalizing the drainage study. To give you an idea of where the SPS Manatee Business Park is at, it's kind of south of Stuart Walmart to Port Salerno Elementary School, and then it's kind of bound by US 1 and Commerce Avenue. And then South County neighborhood, the survey is at approximately 80% complete. For the roadway resurfacing projects, currently Leilani Heights, this says August 2025, but the construction has began for the milling and resurfacing of the roadways. The progress is approximately 25%. And in Hobe Hills, I expect to have that bid package completed next week, and it says construction in fall. Moving on to roadway and sidewalk drainage, Southeast Avalon Drive sidewalk. This one, the drainage inlets are currently being made, and working on relocating the last few FPL poles, finishing the utility coordination. And then we're really pending construction any day, or not any day, but I would say in the next couple weeks. MacArthur Boulevard construction is complete. Fox Brown Road resurfacing. This will be between 7/14 and 7/10, as expected to begin in September. Dixie Highway Multimodal, the design is at 100%. And then Waterside Way it says 90%, but we're actually substantially complete with that project. Sun Trail is a multi-use path that will connect Jonathan Dickinson Park to Sea Branch State Park. That design is at approximately 60%. And then Washington Street Sidewalk Project, which is in the Coral Gardens neighborhood, is at approximately 60% design also. For bridge project updates, the Dixie East Fork Creek Bridge is complete. Hobe Sound Basquiat Bridge is a scour prevention project. The design is at 100%. And then County Line Road Bridge, this one has been in the last few presentations. There's been FPL and AT&T are working on finalizing their Army Corps of Engineer permits. So Martin County, we're working with them to do that as quickly as possible. Our original anticipated bid was this summer, and we're working through the utility coordination as fast as possible. Some traffic project updates. Dixie Highway at Cross Rip, a new traffic signal is under design. Salerno Road at Canner Highway, intersection improvement. The bid package is being prepared. Constitution Boulevard signal at US 1 is under construction, and the roundabout on High Meadows at Sunset Trail also recently began construction. Before I turn it over to John, does anyone have any questions?
I don't see any. Please proceed.
Thank you, Chris. John Mayle, Environmental Resource Administrator for Martin County. Thank you for the opportunity to give some updates on things that are happening in the Environmental Resource Division. We added a new bullet this cycle for Martin County Forever. It's a little bit different kind of project that we normally talk about at the joint meeting, but it's generated a lot of interest and, of course, a lot of excitement in the community. So you're not seeing a lot of like Martin County Forever signs for new acquisitions on the landscape yet, but there has been a mountain of work that your county staff have been doing to prepare for some exciting upcoming acquisitions. Starting in January, collections of the sales tax started rolling in. I believe we're in the ballpark of $7 million. There's about a 3-month lag from when those get turned over to the state, processed, and then sent back to the county. And in the meantime, the county has set up an Environmental Lands Oversight Committee per the referendum, and that is made up of 9 citizens that will review and rank acquisitions as they come forward from willing sellers. And they also qualify whether or not they fit into the referendum language and the restrictions that provided. Staff then send those properties for review by Florida Natural Areas Inventory to kind of qualify the ecological value of those properties. And then we bring those to the board for kind of the final approval to use Martin County Forever sales tax funds on those properties. To date, we've taken 2 properties that were kind of already in some stage of acquisition to the ELOC, and those have been scored, reviewed, and we're queuing them up for board approval. And then we can start true due diligence and negotiations on getting to closing on those properties. The 2 that have been brought up, one was a project that we started years ago with Florida Forever and weren't able to totally seal the deal from a funding standpoint. It was reinvigorated by the sales tax and the county's ability to participate in it. And so Florida Forever is taking the lead on a 2,000-acre acquisition that's out by the C-44 reservoir. It's really a beautiful working ranch that's got some native pine flatwoods and some really good opportunity for some wetland restoration. That will be a conservation easement, and we have committed Well, what we're proposing to commit is $5 million from the sales tax to match maybe 12 to 13 million in state funds to get that acquired. So we're getting off to a good start with the partnerships on that one. We have September 5th is our next Environmental Lands Oversight Committee. So if you're interested in this and kind of want to have a better idea what's in the works, that meeting will have 16 different acquisition opportunities presented before the Environmental Lands Oversight Committee. It'll be at the it'll be at the Commission Chambers on Friday, September 5th, starting at 10 a.m. It's going to be a long day, but if you're interested in conservation land acquisition, you'll get a really holistic view of the different efforts that are in place and what we'll be working on for the next few years to get some deals done. Been some exciting conversations with potential partners. That's been one of the other big efforts this year is developing those relationships with Florida Forever, with DEP, South Florida Water Management District, who has a role to play in acquisition of some of these lands, and particularly a new partner is the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services that has a program the legislature created a couple of years ago called Rural and Family Lands. It's a very well-funded program now, and it pursues agricultural easements where they buy the development rights off of a property and put some environmental service protections onto that land, and then the landowner continues to operate it as a working ranch in most cases. There's a great example of that was a huge win for Martin County back in December, right after our referendum passed by the voters in November. In December, the state closed on a 6,000-acre agriculture easement on the Bull Hammock Ranch, which is out in western Martin County on the grade. And it was one of our high priority areas. It was a $52 million easement, and the state just did it, 100%. So that one came off the list as a huge win, and that's the kind of thing that we want to partner with them and encourage. And so there's 3 more of those in the works where the state would really take the lead, and we would be a funding partner, and you would have a really good manager on the land for free in the landowner going forward. So that's a brief update on Martin County Forever. It's been a ton of work, and I can tell you your staff are having lots of fun working on it. I'm not going to talk about all of these. If you have questions on them, I'm happy to answer them. I did want to bring up, could we move forward one slide? Our Indian River Lagoon restoration efforts. Last year we started planting seagrasses and doing some other experiments to try to determine what works well and what are some of the conditions that need to be addressed. That's all progressing very well. We had a really incredible dry season for seagrass growth. And so the plantings that went in and the natural recruitment that just happens year after year had a very, very good growing dry season and continues to look really good out there. It hasn't looked this good in probably since 2010, and hopefully Mother Nature continues to cooperate with us. We were getting good flushing, though we're getting a lot of releases from the C23 and C24 that are, driving down salinities in the North and South Fork. The estuary itself is getting good tidal flushing, and so those grasses are continuing to do very well. And we've started our next round of planting already. We're going to do, I think, 40 more acres this year, and then preparing some grants to keep that going next year. So that's been exciting to see. That's a really important function for the health of the entire ecology of the estuary and the nearshore reef. That's probably all I was going to highlight. If there's questions, happy to talk about any of those projects.
That's extremely encouraging. Thank you. Questions for Mr. Mayle? I don't see any, so we will continue on with city utilities and engineering projects. Yeah. Oh.
Beautiful. Good morning, everyone.
Is it Memorial Park?
I'm Peter Cunin, Director of Utilities and Engineering for the City of Stuart. It's great to be here with you this morning. No, that's not Memorial Park. I have a few projects to give you an update on. If I could find the right, there it is. Okay. All right, so the first project has to do with a continuing type of work that we're doing at the City of Stuart. It involves the resurfacing of the existing streets and roads, milling and resurfacing, and micro-surfacing as well. We're working on completing the there are five streets, and so the streets that we've done work on, and we're about finished with all five: High School Avenue, Detroit Avenue, Cortez Avenue, Denver Avenue, and Weir Street. So where we're at right now is we have about 2 more streets to go with milling and resurfacing, and we're looking at completing the work by September. So during the month of August, we're planning on finishing that work prior to September. The next project is a utility project that involves the rehabilitation of one of our sewer lift stations. So at our Conquistador lift station, and it's going to involve doing replacement of electrical control panels, pumps, piping, coating the wet well. That project went out for bids, and we've actually are in the process of awarding or completing the contract, awarding the contract, I'm sorry, with the contractor that's going to be performing the construction. And anticipated start of construction of this project is also in September, and that work will run through March of 2026. And that's a pretty good-sized lift station that is in need of just some repairs and renovations to it, rehabilitations to that station. We also have work at our water reclamation facility in that it's doing some rehab work to our existing headwork structure at our water reclamation facility. And that too is it's currently under construction, and we're looking at putting the headworks on a bypass system so that work inside the structure itself could take place. Anticipated completion of construction is January of 2026. Went the wrong way. And we also have currently under construction work at Veterans Memorial Park. And that work is going, it's going well. There's a lot of work that's been done to the stage structure already. And there's work with site work that involves putting in new pavers. That's currently underway as well. Irrigation work, lighting work is all part of the project. Currently, the project itself is on schedule, and the anticipated completion of construction is still on for March of 2026. And with that, this concludes my presentation this morning. Do any of you have any questions for me?
Any questions for Mr. Coonan? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Next is Village Utilities and Public Works update from Mr. Nolan.
Good morning. I'm Pat Nolan. I'm the Director of Utilities and Public Works for the Village of Indiantown. Start with our public works projects. Uptown roadway and drainage repair, that's been in the design phase, funded by the DOT. We actually just finished the design. We do not have money to put the project out to bid, so we're probably going to sit on it for a while unless we can find some funding. Southwest Lincoln Street roadway and drainage project, also an FDOT project. We're working with the DOT on the design to get that out on the street and hopefully start that work in the next year. Seminole Drive project, that is a Department of Economic Opportunity Community Development Block Grant. That project, we're just waiting for the state to approve the project. It's been through design. We've figured out the funding, and we're just waiting on the state so that we can implement that project. And then we have the roadway repair and maintenance project. That is an in-house project. We started repairing the multiple potholes throughout the village, and also started striping for safety. The striping throughout the village had not been done in a very long time, so we're starting a multi-year project to repair the pavement and also restripe as much of the village as we can. On the water project side, we've got the existing water plant project. We are also funding that with grant funding. It's a state revolving fund project, so it's grant funding, and then we also have a loan. We just signed a contract with the engineer last week to start design for that project so that we can start rehabbing the existing water plant. Railroad Avenue water main, that is the oldest main in the village. It's a 100-year-old water main, but it is the backbone of the village system, so we are seeking funding to try to get that project off the ground. Our 12-inch water main looping project, that is a combination of ARPA funding and funding that we received from the county. That project is almost done. I think we'll have that completed in a couple of weeks. We've basically put a brand new 12-inch water main along Farm Road to Silver, Fox, and then down 710 so that we have accomplished a loop that was not there to provide fire protection up in that part of the village. 151st and Osceola Street, that is a project that has been funded through Congressman Mast's office, but we haven't figured out all the funding yet, so we're kind of in a holding pattern until we get that worked out. Special water projects. I'm sure everybody in the county has heard that we are looking to build a water treatment plant. So the beginning of that, the first part of that project is a deep injection well. We received funding from the governor's office last year to initiate the deep injection well. The deep injection well we're using for a dual purpose. It's going to be there for the concentrate for the new water plant, but also for waste from the wastewater plant if we have any upsets. So we were fortunate enough to get the funding from the governor's office and initiate this project in anticipation of building a water plant. Wastewater projects. This is a new lift station that is part of the new wastewater plant. On the left-hand side of it, you'll see the existing lift station that was past its useful life when I got here almost 4 years ago. The lift station on the right is a new lift station that's replacing that. That is also part of the governor's appropriation, but we actually put it online last week. So we are gaining slow but sure in our little village. And last but not least, a couple weeks ago, the governor came to our little village and presented us with a check for $22.5 million. We will be putting that check towards Floridan wells. Again, we're using these Floridan wells as a dual purpose. They will be the water source for the new RO plant in the future, but we're also using them to test that deep injection well because we need a large amount of water to be able to test that well when we put it online. So we're taking this appropriation money that we're getting and we're trying to use it to the best of our ability. So this is again another project that we're using it for both the water and the wastewater programs. So as it says on my slide here, we'd like to thank our state legislative delegates, Senator Gail Harrell, Representative Overdorf, Representative John Snyder, our village council members, our mayor, our village administrator, Taryn Krizda, And also Kevin Powers and Josh Kellum, because without them, we would not be realizing this funding that we've been able to garner. So, and also the village staff, because as I sit here and give you a presentation, I've got 10 employees that work for me directly that do all the heavy lifting. So it's a team effort in the village of Indiantown. Questions?
Questions? Thank you. We will now move on to the growth and development updates. First is Martin County Samantha Lovelady. Get out of here.
Good morning, Samantha Lovelady with Martin County Growth Management, and this is our semi-annual growth and development report. And I'm showing these population figures, but I want to point out that Bieber has had a delay in releasing their next update on population projections. So these are, you've seen these before, and we're just waiting on them to release new information before we can update the population. So far this year, between January and June, the end of June, we've approved 33 residential units and 183,961 square feet of non-residential approvals. This is a list of projects under review for residential.
That 4,000.
And this is a list under review for non-residential. And I can go back to any of these if you have questions. And building permits so far between January and June, the end of June, so far we've approved 327 permits.
Do the math.
And that's the end of my report. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions? We'll move on to the city. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jody Kugler. I'm with Development Director with the City of Stuart. We don't have a whole lot to report. So let's just see here. So we recently did approve a business park, Barron Business Park, which is right off of Willoughby across from the Martin County High School. And it's about 235,205 square feet of office and flex space. They are also in for site permitting right now. And then we also have Seacoast Utilities, Seacoast Headquarters. They are looking to demo the building in the front off of US 1 in Colorado and rebuild and then put a parking garage. And that precludes my presentation. Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you. Ms. Krista.
14 pages. Thank you very much. Our Community Development Director, Dina Freeman, is not with us today. Where am I? This one? No. Nope. I can't. Oh, wait a minute. Let me look here instead of up there. New city growth. There we are. Okay. So at the Village of Indiantown, as you heard Pat say, we are so blessed for the last 3 legislative sessions to have received $76.1 million. $43 million goes toward our wastewater plant, and then another $33.1 million going toward our water plant. We're still about $30 million short, I think, maybe, and then more. But we need that water plant. We're at capacity in the village, and we can't move forward with any more approvals of any more development, and you'll see that in these slides. So this you've seen before. This is non-residential. I think the one thing I would like to highlight, actually there's 2 things. Green Carbon, the next to the last on the bottom, they're looking to start phase 2. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's a a facility that processes eucalyptus trees and turns it into a biochar, which is a high-end charcoal that is able to be utilized by concrete companies and various other, and they go into plastics. So every black plastic has that biochar in it. So they're looking to expand. They want to be able to create a facility that will take railroad ties. And that would be huge because, as you know, we've got railroad ties all over the place. And they have something that they think can address the creosote that goes into those railroad ties. So we're excited for them to come and expand. The next one down, East Coast Metal, we're excited about what they've brought to the village. We introduced them to the high school, the Indiantown High School, and they got involved with the welding program, and they have vowed to take every single student that graduates from that welding program to be an employee of East Coast Metals. And so we're really excited for that. The next one, the new one on here is the Cedron Technologies. We're excited for them. That's a biosolid processing plant. They are going on where the old juice plant is currently located. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Indiantown, the juice plant that is out there employed over 400 employees. And during the greening of citrus, of course, it went defunct and closed. An individual has bought that facility and has repurposed that facility, which is a tremendous use of that site. There's over 16 different businesses on there. They have Bitcoin, they have boat manufacturing, they have power coating, they have pet crematorium, they have, and they've recently sold some property to a truss building company. He's got 5 acres, and now Cedron, which is a biosolid processing facility, is going to locate their new plant on the corner of that site. So if you're familiar with Indiantown, the juice plant is right next to where the cogen plant was before it was decommissioned. So it's right there off of Warfield. The other one that's new, well, P3 Technologies on here. That's a very interesting company. This gentleman, his main company is in Jupiter, but he manufactures pumps, and not one jet engine takes off that doesn't have his pump on it. And so he's creating a testing facility in Venture Park. And then the Indiantown go-kart facility, that has come and gone, but I think finally they're going to be coming forward. It's a private go-kart facility where individuals that are part of that group, I guess, are able to utilize that site. And then the new ones on here is Sky Leasing. That's a truck and manufacturing facility, to kind of having your semis there. And then U.S. Advanced Transportation is similar to that. And then the next one is Silver Fox. Now, this property is located adjacent to the cogen plant off of Silver Fox Lane. And it is a data processing center, and they're proposing various stages of build-out, but at the end of the build-out will be a 2 million square foot data processing center. So they have come in with a pre-app meeting we had back in May, and so we're just waiting on the major site plan application and their submission as they move forward. So you can see the total square footage of projects that we've had come forward is about 3.8 million square feet, and then if you look at the Indiantown Technology and Commerce Park, they're permit ready, but we haven't seen activity on there yet. But with the possibilities, we would have 467 million square feet. Venture Park, this is just a map showing you where Venture Park is. Across the street from there, where you see that U.S. Advance, is the juice plant that I was talking about. And so you can see that Venture Park is an industrial park. They're these smaller lots, but you have individuals like East Coast Metals buying, 4 lots and putting their 100,000 square foot facility on that lot. This is another map of the Silver Fox pre-app. This is what they're proposing as far as that data center goes that we're looking at. They do have a few wetlands on the site, but they believe they're able to work around that. And to the top right of the screen, that was the Indiantown Cogen plant, site that they decommissioned. Now they have come in. We've been having dialogue with them. FP&L is looking to possibly put a battery pack project on that site. With all the solar, they have a desire and a need to keep that energy that they're developing through that solar into these battery packs so that they have a constant source of power. And so we're excited for that. That property has sat vacant since they decommissioned that plant, and so the battery pack project will be really great for us. Whoops, sorry, this thing's really touchy. For residential development, Terra Lago, they came in with their master site plan, the 2,488 residential units. They have single-family, multifamily, and they have some townhomes. They've been approved for Phase 1A and 1B. We have rooftops in Indiantown. We have about 40 homes in Terra Lago that have rooftops, and then we have another 40 in River Oak, which is off of Femel. And so Meritage has 32 rooftops right now. Their sales approach is kind of like a car lot. Here's the car, you like it, buy it, and that's it. Whereas Ryan has, you pick your lot, you pick your design, and you pick your facade, and then they build the home. So they're both just completely different sales approach. And so those are all Terra Lago's phases. They cannot move forward because we don't have water capacity to approve any more residential units. So these other phases are, we're working with them, and Mr. Vos in his office is working on something where we can have individuals come on in, and upon site plan approval, they get capacity, they can get that capacity approval, and then they get first in line, if you will, for when our water plant comes online. So we're working to move Terra Lago further along in their phases. River Oak, that's 131 single-family homes. They've got about 40 rooftops now currently done. We're expecting, they're all rentals, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of sales they're able to do with those rentals. And then Seminole Crossing, that's been approved. They're under construction. And then Osceola Pines, they came forward with 158 single-family homes, but we were only able to approve them for 40 because of our capacity situation. And then we have Heritage Park. For those of you that have been along here long enough to remember the old FEMA site, where we brought the trailers in after Francis and Jean and housed individuals. D.R. Horton has come in and wants to put in 71 single-family homes on that site. They're able to move forward because we had capacity previously. Also looking at Citrus Grove, they've come in. This site is near the airport. It was Citrus Landing at one time. And they have come in, and we have expressed to them our ability. We don't have the water capacity, so they're looking at options to see what they can do to move forward. So essentially, we've got about 1,800 homes or single-family residential homes that we cannot move forward with until we get that water availability. So that's where Citrus Pines is. This is the red. I'm sorry, Osceola Pines, that's back off of Osceola, back over by Terra Lago, and that development in the middle there with all that's Indianwood, just to give you some bearings there. And then this is Terra Lago Phase 1A and 1B. They have cleared that now. There's homes there now, so you can drive back in there and look at the sales models. That's their layout of that 1A and 1B. As you can see, all the property in the back has been cleared. They're actually working with us too, and I'm working with the county on possibility of providing some real estate for a fire station. So they could locate, I know I'd like to have hazmat out there, and we're going to have a need to redo the fire station for the village. River Oak, that's under construction, that's their layout. Seminole Crossing, that's the layout for the 40 that, or no, I'm sorry, he's got the homes, 25 homes back in the back off in Booker Park. Whoops. And then Heritage Park, that's the old FEMA site next to our park in Booker Park. And then we've had a request for annexation.
Denied.
Yes, sir? What part are you wanting to give up?
No more.
This is within the, this is off of 710, and it's by the area of Venture Park and another area that's within the village limits. They want to propose light industrial. They have submitted an application, and we have it, we've been going back and forth with them. They did resubmit, so it's under review. And that's where the property is located. As you can see, they've got access off of Allapattah as well as 710. And the hatched marks on there is the village boundaries. That's the area again from an aerial. And across the street, as you can see from there, is the site that we were looking at with the juice plant and the cogen. And that's it. I'll answer any questions. Come see us. Anybody wants a tour, I'm happy to do that. Yes, sir.
I was just going to say thank you for that presentation. That was fantastic. The clarity and how comprehensive you were. If anybody had any questions about what's going on in Indiantown, they understand, so thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I didn't put the presentation together. I have, like Pat said, we're fortunate to have a great team in Indiantown. We're small, but we're mighty.
Any further questions? Thank you. School district.
All right, good morning. Michael Main, Superintendent of Schools. I wanted to introduce you to Mr. Dan Moore. He's our new Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction. He's been with us for a couple of years now, and we have a lot to celebrate. Your school district is now an A-rated school district by the Florida Department of Education, so I do believe that that deserves a round of applause. Very excited. Last year, 2 years ago, we set out on this journey to make sure that was the #1 goal to do, is we have not been an A-rated school district since 2018-19, and so it is a great honor to be able to get that back. It's wonderful for the community, it's great for business, and extremely excited that we were able to move in that direction. We were one of only 6 school districts in the state of Florida to move to an A, and of those 6, we had the highest number of points earned by the Florida Department of Education. You can see here on the slides, we lead the Treasure Coast in algebra, geometry, and writing. Currently, right now, we were able to move Warfield Elementary from a D to a C, so we do not have any D or F schools in the Martin County School District. We were able to outperform St. Lucie in English language arts, math, algebra, geometry, science, civics, U.S. history, and writing. So St. Lucie has some work to do. And we were also able to outperform Indian River County in algebra, geometry, and writing. One of the things that we're going to be focusing on very heavily is reading. We have been doing very well in math. We've been doing very well in civics. We always have done well in those areas. Reading is something that together as a community, we need to rally around to continue pushing forward those scores. We are very marginal growth when we talk about our reading scores, particularly at the elementary level. So we're going to be putting some things into place to work on that. And that is reflected here. You'll notice that we do have 6 C schools here in the Martin County School District. It's unacceptable. So my goal this year coming up, is no C schools in Martin County. We are making a bold plan to make sure that we're working exclusively with all of the C schools that are on this list, so that next year I'm able to sit here with staff and tell you that not only are we maintaining our A as a school district, but all of our schools are rated either an A or a B. This is a highlight, however, because we put a lot of effort last school year into our middle schools and our high schools. And I am proud to say that you have no C, D, or F middle schools or high schools in Martin County. Anderson Middle School went from a C to a B. Hidden Oaks maintained their A. Indiantown Middle School went from a C to a B. Murray Middle School also from a C to a B in the first year that Principal Roth was there. Stewart Middle School missed the A by 1 point. Jensen Beach High School received their A again from a B to an A. Martin County High School missed the A by ½ a point, and South Fork High School missed the A by 1 point. We have appealed all 3 of those schools, Stewart Middle School, Martin County, and South Fork, to the Florida Department of Education because our data shows that they should have been A schools. It is extremely difficult to win an appeal. However, we're going to give it a shot because that ½ a point, particularly at Martin County High School, we're hoping the DOE will see our data our way. It is possible we could have 3 more A schools on this list. So very, very excited about our secondary schools. I also would be remiss. Indiantown, we represent the public schools. However, we are extremely proud of Indiantown High School that went from a D to an A. They are also an A-rated high school, and so a lot of work went in with Principal Davenport and their team to make sure that that happened for their students. So congratulations all the way around, and more good news for Indiantown. And from an academic standpoint, there were no questions, so I'm expecting no questions. I will turn it over to our facilities department. Thank you.
We just say congratulations.
So good morning, everyone. Mark Sechrist, Director of Facilities and Planning at the Martin County School District. We have some exciting news. We do keep this map on every presentation so that you realize where all of our school sites are and where our district buildings are. And we actually have the charter schools listed on there as well. So if you get lost in the county, we have everything numbered and you can follow this if you pull up the presentation. So it's some exciting news at a high level. Just so everybody knows, we're getting ready to open up Stewart Middle School's cafeteria. So we've gone through all the inspections, and that will open in August. And the only reason I bring that up is because once we start Murray Middle School, that admin media center building that you currently see at Stewart will be replicated at Murray Middle. The only thing that will be different is the aesthetics. The functions will probably be pretty much similar to the same building. And we actually have that same prototype at Indiantown Middle School. So we're trying to keep that same prototype going through our middle schools as we develop new buildings. Murray Middle School has been a challenge, as you know. The project basically doubled in size after Hurricane Milton. So now that current project does include buildings 9, 10, and 18 that had storm damage from Milton. And originally we were doing the admin media center, so now it includes admin media center and a new building 9, which will include all the functions that were in 9, 10, and 18. We currently are in the, we call it the PSAC committee process. This is a process where we go through an RFQ, which is a request for qualifications. The architects submitted first. We scored them. The recommendation was brought forward in June. The board approved that recommendation. In August 19th, we will bring forward the contract for the architect. Once that is officially approved by the board, then the timeline starts for that project. And then following that, we just went through the scorecards for the construction manager at risk. We were going to bring forward that recommendation for approval at the August board meeting, and then in September, their contract will bring forward for the board approval. So those projects are moving. On top of this project, like I said, it'll start the timeline. I don't want everybody to be surprised, but that's anywhere from when we actually turn the project over at 100% completion, that's a 24-month to 36-month process. The design process alone is somewhere around 9 to 12 months. So somewhere about a year from now, we'll be bringing forward the guaranteed maximum price for Murray Middle School and then start the groundbreaking on that project. So right on the heels of Murray Middle is the Warfield Elementary School project, and it's very similar where we're going to be doing an admin media. But this project is a little unique where the existing admin actually has classrooms inside that building. So once we tear that building down, we actually have to provide more or replace, we're not adding classrooms, we're replacing existing classrooms to that campus. So this project will go through the same process, but I have to stagger them a little bit because it's a lot of heavy lifting bringing two large projects at the same time. So once we get through the approvals in August and September, then Moorfield will go through the same PSAC process, and we will do scorecards and bring forward an architect and a contractor for board approval.
So on Warfield, if I may, how many additional classrooms are being added? I see 12 new classrooms, but those aren't existing classrooms. Are they adding any additional capacity?
We're not adding capacity because right now we're not full capacity. I guess that's the way I should say it. But just so everybody understands these projects, because I've done these in other school districts, you start out with portables, and once you can maintain that capacity, then DOE allows you to replace those temporary student stations with permanent stations, but that gives you a 2 to 3 year window to plan for that permanent building, if you can maintain that capacity.
Okay.
Mr. Capps?
You mentioned that we're not at full capacity right now in the district. Like, how many spaces do you currently have to bring you up to full capacity? Like, what is the shortfall?
I can get you numbers, but essentially we have large capacities in our middle schools. Our high school, Martin County High School, is over capacity. Jensen Beach is right on the heels of being over capacity or at capacity, and then Southport usually ranges in that same range where we have capacity or we're right at capacity. But those high schools fluctuate because you have dual enrollment and you have students that move in and out sort of like a college campus, so they're not there 8 hours a day.
And then with the anticipated growth in Indiantown long-term, what are you thinking down the road, a few years from now, 5 years from now? Will there be a need for a new school out there eventually?
Well, we would first start adding to either Warfield or Indiantown Middle. And that would be based on the number of students we're actually seeing coming. But just so everybody realizes, which has been occurring the last 3 years, with all the development happening, the numbers aren't matching. So we're getting an increase in population in the county, but we're not getting an increase in students. So we're actually falling under the mark instead of what's projected.
Okay. And I had one other question about the criteria for improving school grades. I know that's probably a rather complicated, like moving a school from a C to a B or something like that. Can you just touch on a few of the highlights of what might be involved in moving a grade?
Yes, and I actually would encourage everybody to tune in to the next month's workshop, because our Director of Assessment and Accountability, Dr. Greg Laws, will be doing a fully comprehensive presentation to the board on exactly, and the community, on exactly how school grades are calculated, as well as our district grade. So you'll get a lot more detailed information there. But I will tell you that every school has a report card with grading categories and components. Each one of those components is worth a certain number of points, and then at the end they tally up the number of points. At the elementary level, they have to hit at least 62% of those points to be an A, 64 at the middle school, 64 at the high school, although now that is being moved up to 65% by the state, and if you hit those thresholds, then you move in those grading categories. There's a lot more involved. You get points for CTE, the number of college and career courses, acceleration, grad rate, rate. At the elementary level, they are calculated by science, math, their bottom quartile, and how we're moving our bottom quartile students up and the number of students that are growing. All of that is factored into those school grade components and then tallied by the Department of Education. The district grade is then all of the schools combined into one based on those scores.
Great, thank you.
And the plans for Warfield Elementary, they include accommodation for the 1,180 units in Indiantown that have already been approved, and the 4,587 units that are under review. So there's capacity for 6,000 new units.
Just to clarify, it takes almost 4 units to make one student, based on the county calculation we have.
Okay. Any further questions? Well, we've reached the end of our agenda. City of Stuart, any comments, any questions? Village of Indiantown, any comments or questions? Commissioner Campion.
I don't know if anybody else had heard, but I had a conversation with folks from Sewell's Point and Jupiter Island wondering why they were not included in these meetings. I said I would bring it up at the meeting, and I just did.
Commissioner, this has come up before. The resolution or whatever was adopted to create this requires that they have a school within their jurisdiction, and that's why Sewell's Point and Jupiter Island are not included. They do not, in Ocean Breeze, they do not have a school within their jurisdiction.
I appreciate that, but unofficially on their behalf, I would say that that was the policy. But if you have 2 municipalities or potentially 3 that should somehow participate in everybody else getting to hear what the value is. I get it would be a much larger meeting, but Sewell's Point, Jupiter Island, Ocean Breeze are communities within our county. So I think it at least would require a conversation of the administrations of the groups that are all represented here today to reach out to those 2 and not just say, you're not included because you don't have a school.
Commissioner Capps.
No, I'm sorry.
Ms. Roberts.
Yeah, so one of the things that I wanted to bring up today was about the playground at Jensen Beach Elementary School. I don't know whether you all are aware as a board, but we've become aware as a board that there's discussion between our 2 staffs regarding the memorandum of understanding that has to do with those extra, the playground itself, the community-built playground. There's 2 community-built playgrounds in Martin County. One's in Palm City, and the other one's in Jensen Beach, both at elementary schools, and they're both happen to be at elementary schools that were recently rebuilt. But I don't know, I think Dr. Miller's here, who maybe she can give some light to it, but I didn't know whether you all were aware of those discussions or whether you had any interest in those discussions.
I'm aware of the discussions, certainly.
Want me to?
Sure.
Elise Elder, Acting County Attorney. There have been discussions between county staff and the school board. I believe that I was told all of those discussions have come to a resolution. There was an interlocal agreement between the school board and the county that was negotiated with their attorney, and it was brought to our board and approved by our board. So the county's understanding is that we're just waiting for your board to approve the interlocal, and all the issues have been resolved at Jensen Beach. The plan is moving forward that we're going to tackle each school to make sure each school is properly accounted for maintenance and things like that. So we're just doing one school at a time, but our board has already approved that agreement, and we're just waiting for school board approval. That's what I've been told.
Okay. Any further questions or comments?
No, I'll look forward to seeing what that agreement looks like. Haven't yet. Thank you.
Would anyone from the public like to address us? Anyone else? We are adjourned.